Good morning. This is Engage New York, 6th grade, Module 3, Lesson 17. And it is Throwback Thursday at Giudicy, so my outfit and my hair are a little 80s-ish. Lesson 17 should be pretty easy for you. It is going to focus on choosing an appropriate scale when you're making your own coordinate plane. So let's go ahead and look at example number 2, as example number 1 gives you the scale. So when we turn the page to example number 2, it gives us a list of points. Based on these points, we will choose an appropriate scale for our coordinate plane. Scale is a vocabulary word that you should be very familiar with. If you know it, go ahead and write it down on your paper. Push pause until you have that done. Scale, as you know, is the value for each space. So it's the number that you're counting by. So in the previous lessons, our scale has always been 1 for the x-axis, so we just counted by ones, starting at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. For these directions, it says, on the coordinate plane, you're going to create the x and y axis, and we want the origin to be in the center. So your origin is going to be in the center. They want you to have the same number of positive and negative integers for both sides, or positive and negative rational numbers. So when we're looking at the scale, let's look at our x-coordinates. So we want to find a common factor that all of our x-coordinates could be. And we want to be able to, we have 10 spaces on either side of the origin. So what could we count by that all of our x-coordinates would fall on a space? So here, if we counted by ones, we could have that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. And that is far enough. That will include all of our x-coordinates. So our x scale is going to be counting by ones. Now let's look at our y-coordinates. If we count by ones on the y-axis, will all of these points fit on there? They won't. We only have room for 10 different values. So let's think of what a common factor for all of them. So these are all multiples of 10. So if we counted by tens, we would be able to get these 3 points on there, but these wouldn't. So 10 would not be a good scale for our y-axis. All of these numbers are also divisible by 5. So if we counted by 5s, we would be able to put each of these values at a point, and we would have enough room to get them all on there. So our scale for the y-axis will be 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And now the scale is consistent along the entire y-axis. So your negative numbers are going to be counting by 5s as well. Negative 5, negative 10, negative 15, negative 20, negative 25, negative 30, negative 35. So now we can plot these points. Our first point is negative 4, 20. So starting at the origin, I'll move over to negative 4 on the x-axis, then up to 20. That would be our first point. Negative 3, 35, 1, 2, 3, and then up to 35. 1, negative 35, 6, 10, so over positive 6 up to 10, and then 9, negative 40, so over to 9, down to negative 40. So using that scale, we were able to plot all 5 points on our coordinate plane. When we talk about the scale of a number line, it's just going to be a single digit. The scale for the x-axis is 1. The scale for the y-axis is 5. So when we're on a coordinate plane, we're going to write the scale. It's going to look like a ratio because the scales can be the same. They could be 1 to 1 or 5 to 5, but sometimes they're different. And in this case, they are. So our scales stay in the same order as our coordinates. The scale for the x-axis and the scale for the y-axis. Always in that order because a ratio is an ordered set of numbers just like our ordered pair. X, then y. It always stays in that order. So now you're going to use the same process to choose an appropriate scale for example number 3. So taking a look at all of your x coordinates, decide what would be an appropriate scale for the x-axis. Then look at all your y coordinates, decide what would be an appropriate scale to get all of those points on your y-axis. Write the scale for the coordinate plane as a ratio in this order. And you'll be able to use those skills to complete the problem set. Good luck, do your best.